12, I think, yeah. So I've got eight assignments have come in, and very, very exciting, because I think all your creativity is just blossoming. I can see the different ways in which you have approached the topics, both the prompts and the assignment, about the things that you cherish, and about the sentence which said lipstick on the edge of a coffee mug. There are a lot of creative essays there as well. So thank you for that. And today we're going to look at what we call metafiction. And we will look at the short story, the continuity of Parks by Julio Cortázar, who's an Argentinian. And then we will have writing prompts, as always. So the question is, what is the relationship between reality and fiction? So as we write now, I think this question arises: where does reality end and where does fiction begin? Are we reproducing photographs in our writing, through our writing? Is that possible? It is not. So we are borrowing, we are taking from reality, unless you're writing fantasy or science fiction. In most cases, what is happening around us, the experience, what we experience is what is being transformed into fiction. But where does fiction begin? Where does reality end and where does fiction begin? Can we say that within the cover and anything that is outside the covers is reality? That would be a very strange way of looking at it, that all around us is reality, but the moment we sit down and put it on paper, it becomes fiction. When we look at, or when we are part of a play on stage, can we say that where the audience sit and watch, that is the reality, and the stage and the screen divides fiction from reality? That again is a strange way of looking at it. But what can we say about this? Don't we sometimes remark that something that happened in our midst is stranger than fiction? You know, we've used this expression, stranger than fiction. So what happens for real can be almost stranger than fiction. It's like what you read in a novel, but it has happened in real life. So it is, what I'm trying to say is that it is not easy to separate reality from fiction. It is not easy to separate what is real from the telling of it. And this is what the writer of the continuity. Now, doesn't to say anything about that short story. Have you read it? Hello?
Which one, ma'am?
The Continuity of Parks by Julio Cortázar. The short story that I asked you to read for today.
Yes. This was shared earlier, right?
That's right. It was shared.
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to have any comment at all about it? What did you think of it? What happens in that story?
Anyone? This was one of the sharings that we had done on the group itself.
Yes. Was it a difficult story to understand?
It choked me at the end.
Yes. You see, it's an interesting story. It's written in a very interesting way, because we have a man reading a novel. And he says that he was on the train and he was really absorbed. He was reading the novel and he got interested in the plot, in the characters and all that. And that afternoon, he had come home and he had given some instructions to his estate manager about joint ownership of his estate, presumably between him and his wife. And then he went back to his study. It says the tranquility of his study, and started reading the novel, started continuing from where he left off, because now he was reaching the final chapters of the novel. And he tells us that the study where he was sitting, his room, his study, overlooked a park. And the park had these oak trees lining it. On either side, there was like an avenue of oak trees leading up to his front door. And he was sprawled in his favorite armchair, reading the book with his back to the door. So he's sitting there, and you can imagine, it's as if we, the readers, are behind him, watching him, reading this novel. And it mentions that the armchair had green velvet. There's a very precise description, green velvet armchair. And he runs his hand over the green velvet and so on. And he's getting very involved in the reading of the novel. And then he was really immersed in what was happening between the hero and the heroine in the novel. And what we have is that two lovers are meeting in a mountain cabin, and they are planning a murder. This is what the story is about. Two lovers meeting in a mountain cabin, planning a murder. And presumably the woman is the wife of the man who owns the estate or something. And she's meeting her lover in the cabin. The male lover carries a dagger in his jacket. And after they have embraced, the male lover is running through the park, running down the avenue of oak trees, and he enters the house. And the short story ends with the man coming up behind a man seated on a green velvet backed armchair reading a novel. Now, this is where the short story ends. So the continuity of parks, the parks in the novel, seamlessly being continuous with the park in the story. The man in the mountain cabin appears as the man in the novel that this protagonist is reading. So what is happening is that the reality of the man reading this novel and the fiction, that is what happens in the story, come together. Yeah, it's a strategy used by the writer. So we have the man in the story coming up behind the man reading the novel, and presumably he's going to murder him, the lover. And we are behind the lover, as it were. We are watching the two people. We have watched the two lovers. Now we are watching the man reading the novel and the man coming up behind him with the dagger. And reality and fiction come together. And this is what is called metafiction. And it is also called the fourth wall, because what happens is that reality and fiction merge, and then sometimes the writers break the illusion of the
Can you pick up your phone or something, Kanchana? Your audio's stumbling. Kanchana? Is everybody else online? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So I guess it's her. All right, let's give her a second. Kanchana, we lost you. I just love listening to her talk about things like that. That was so mesmerizing and interesting. What a privilege you guys have to sit before her. She probably went out and she'll come back in. Did you guys read the story before this class? I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good.
I've shared it as well right now in the creative writing WhatsApp group. So in case you want to spend this time catching up or picking up the story, please do. It's not very long.
To be truthful, I never heard of this idea of metafiction. This idea of the place where reality and fiction meet. Amazing. So it's still recording. I guess I'll leave the recording on. Maybe she'll, so that we don't have, here she's coming back. Didn't look like she made it in. Here she is. Kanchana?
Hello, Vicky, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Everybody?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, oh, so sorry. Yeah, okay, I think we're back on. So as writers, I said we're outside the story and outside the field of action, but occasionally we can break into the fourth wall, break the fourth wall and enter the action as the writer has done in this story. It's just a strategy for writing. We may have a character addressing the reader directly. We may have actors speaking to the audience. Yeah, all this is breaking the suspense and addressing reality. So from fiction, we have the characters addressing the reader, as it were. Here we have the character in fiction approaching a man who is reading a novel, and we are reading that short story. Yeah, so you can see 3 layers of readers and participants in this short story. So the final chapter in the novel is the climax and the illusion, the green velvet.
Kanchana, we do not have your audio. I just want you to know. Kanchana? Kanchana? Sorry, I don't know how to get her attention.
All the together. And the author draws.
Kanchana, can you hear me? Kanchana, can you hear me?
I
We
think,
lost-
yes.
Yeah, I think we lost her. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. This is a Nigeria problem.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Am I on the right slide?
Okay.
Can you maybe hold your phone?
Great.
Can you
Oh,
hold your phone
yes, yes. Now we can move. Hold my phone.
maybe closer to you? I'm not sure why we're struggling understanding you.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Kanchana.
Yes, yes. I'm speaking, but you can't hear me.
Well, we hear you off and on, just to be honest. Right now, we can hear you.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Let's just continue.
Okay.
The quotation is, in fiction, characters are trapped within the novelist's script. And in reality, people are part of the book written by the hand. Did you get that, everybody?
It's down on the bottom of the PowerPoint. People
Yes.
are part of the book written by the hand of God.
Yeah.
Okay. We got it.
Yes. So in fiction, when we write fiction within the script, it's what, but in reality, we ourselves are part of the book written by the hand of God. I think that's an interesting
Interesting was the last word.
Kanchana, do you want me to change the slide to these other comments? You have here
of
a
looking
novelist.
at it. To move on to, yeah, the next slide.
Got it.
Okay. And we can still go to the next.
Okay.
So we move on. And the next.
There you go.
These are just for you to, yeah, okay. So we're looking at narrative fiction versus fiction that unfolds as dialogue. So some writers like to write narratives. Yeah, you have very little dialogue in it, very little speech, but everything unfolds as narratives. And for this, you have mostly Sashi Deshpande. If you read her short stories, there's a lot of narrative, and people's characters come through the narrative. Even the dialogue is narrated, yeah. But there are others, like my own story, Letting Go, and then John Cheever's Reunion, mostly dialogue. So the entire story unfolds as dialogue. So what do we know of the characters and the situation from the dialogue? This is the question, yeah? Did you get a chance to read Letting Go? Hello?
Yes, that was
No,
again.
Hello, Vicky?
Right.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm
Yes.
waiting for the students to respond to you.
The students, did you get a chance to read Letting Go? What do you think? Most of it is dialogue, yeah? The daughter and Chelama and the mother, three of them.
yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, do you have any comments on it?
Ma'am, you have sent that last week, no, ma'am. That one only you're talking about, no? In that
Letting
which,
Go.
yes, ma'am. The Amma is sick. She had a heart problem, and the daughter is going to sell the things.
That's right.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So what I
Yeah.
understood is that there are two generations. I mean, we can
Yeah.
see the clear differences between the thought process and how they value things or not between the two generations. If we look at
Yes.
from Amma's point of view, those things have a sentimental value to her, which were given to her by her father after marriage,
Yes.
and she used them for doing everything from
Yes.
bathing her children to to lighting lamp for the god worship, and she feels
Yes.
that those things have a very good values, some kind of power in them for which there is good in her house. And when it comes to
Absolutely.
daughter,
Yes.
she feels that they are cluttered. I mean, they are taking lot of space. Her
Yeah.
mother is not in the state right now to use it. So there is no
Yes.
point in keeping it. Let's keep it to the minimum and give away whatever is not necessary. So that is the
Yes.
whole conversation which goes around it. Why they should keep it and why they shouldn't.
Good, great. You've got it absolutely. So that's exactly what is happening in the story. Two generations, one values the things of the past, and the younger generation is into plastics and other things, and it wants to give away because there is no use for this. You have to replace these things, and all these chunky copper and brass has no place in small apartments in which the younger generation, younger people live. And, so that's what
Kanchana, what if you turned your video off and you just use the audio? Kanchana?
to bring out. So I think absolutely correct. Now the other on.
Oh, she's gone totally now. Let me go back to her PowerPoint to make sure that there were a couple of things here that she didn't mention. These are probably.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know if anyone was able to read the John Cheever's short story Reunion, but there we have a young boy who has like an hour and a half between trains in New York City. He arrives at the Grand Central Station and meets with his father. His father is there to meet him. And can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Well, we could. Does anyone want to comment on what you know of the characters and the situation from the dialogue in Reunion?
Can Kanchana ma'am hear me or she left the meeting?
I think so.
No, she's
No,
there.
she's still here.
Okay.
Kanchana, we can't understand you. The audio is not working.
Father and son set up. The father says, let me, father here. Hello?
Yes, Kanchana?
Yeah. Was anyone able to read Reunion?
So I was.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody have any comments on it?
Yes, ma'am. It's about the reunion of a father and a son, where the
Yeah.
father changed from the son because the boy's parents were divorced, and before going on a new journey, the son he meets his father, but the
Yeah.
father is not very good. I mean, he's rude, he's obnoxious, and an alcoholic man, and the child is able
Yes.
to understand why his father, I mean his mother left the father, because it's
Yes.
very difficult to live with such a person. And then
Yes.
he feels that everyone in the society has told him or made him believe that since his father is like this, in future
Yes.
he will also become like this. So this is also one of the reasons why the boy goes to meet with the father.
Yes, yes. And it's a very humorous story because you just laugh as you're reading the rudeness of the father, just as you said, rude and obnoxious. Any restaurant he enters, he's very, very rude to the waiters. And so the way in which the writer brings out the character of the father and the son in the course of dialogue, yeah, the whole entire story is written. It's a very short story written in the form of a dialogue. And so we gather the characters, we gather the action, we gather the situation, all that through dialogue. So what I'm trying to say is that dialogue is one of the ways in which you can construct character, yeah, through speech. And in order to do that, you must have a listening ear. Am I clear?
Yes, you are clear right now.
Okay, so you have to have a listening ear. You have to eavesdrop on conversation. If you are in a restaurant yourself, try to eavesdrop. It's not a bad thing to listen to what people in the next table are saying. Or if you're on the bus, listen, because it's only by listening to people, the way people speak, that will write convey dialogue that speaks, dialogue that reveals character. Yeah, because when we hear people speak, we can sort of form a picture of what sort of persons they are and so on. So this is what that story does, So that was one of the reasons why I wanted you to read that story, try and reread it again. And the assignment from a photograph, I think, do we have that page? Yeah, we have a writing prompt and we have an assignment. Now the assignment is the one I want you to present. Construct a character from a photograph, make the person come alive. Okay, it can be a photograph of a person you know or you don't know. Did you get it?
I wanted to ask a question.
Yes.
How do you put character into a dialogue?
You don't put character into a dialogue, but from the dialogue, the character of the person emerges, just as in John Cheever's Reunion. We have the arrogant father, the obnoxious father. From his speech, we can gather the kind of person he was. We can even extend it to say why there might have been a divorce and he and his wife didn't get on. And the son is here in the middle, going between parents. And he has he hasn't seen his father in 3 years. And the story ends with him saying, I'll never see my father again after this kind of meeting that he had. So what happens is that through dialogue, we make the persons come alive. So his character emerges through dialogue, through his speech, because we are what we say in many ways, is it not? So the things we say and the way we say it says a lot about who we are. So that is what dialogue does. And that's why it's important to listen. Am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. So the assignment is construct a character from a photograph and make the person come. Any photograph, person in a group photograph, someone you know or someone you don't even know or someone you vaguely know who is part of an old photograph perhaps, and just construct that person's character, write about that person so that the person comes alive to the reader. Did you get that? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So what I wanted to say about assignments is that please put your name on the attachment. Many of you attach pieces. The name is on the email, but there is no name on the attachment, which I download. So please put your name on the attachment and say whether it is an assignment for session 3 or session 2 or what it is, yeah? And the title. Is that all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good idea, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now the writing prompt, which you're going to write right now. Vicky, how much time do we have?
You can go ahead and go on a little bit because we don't have a 5 o'clock today. So go ahead and take another 10, 15 minutes, whatever you need. Did you hear me?
Oh, so that now is think of a conversation you had recently or in the past. It could be on the bus, over the phone, for example, wherever. Try to reproduce it in the form of a dialogue. Now, this is a prompt for you to get started right now, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and you'll read it out at the end of that. Okay?
Okay.
We think of a conversation page on the PowerPoint, so you could put it up for them.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll stop at maybe 12, about 18 minutes. No, sorry, 9 minutes from now. Can we say we're done? Is anybody ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, could you read it, please?
Ah! Okay. So, all right, I'll put my video on. Enough hiding me. Okay. So this is between me and a man on the telephone.
You're not supposed to tell us. You're not supposed to tell us. We should just gather from the dialogue who you're speaking to and what you're saying.
Well, I won't say anything else about the man. Okay. Here we
Okay.
go. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Speak English, please. I only speak English. Yes, madam, I am speaking English. I don't understand. Are you coming? I called an Ola. Coming, madam, coming. Where are you located? Where are you going? Look on your GPS, please. I'm behind Victory at Sea, 2 streets behind. What is Victory at Sea? Okay, do you know YMCA? Yes, madam, coming. Where are you going? St. Joseph's College, near the railway. You're going to the railway? No, sir. near the railway, Convent Junction. Do you know? Yes, madam, coming. Are you paying cash? No, sir, I paid online. No, madam, I am not coming.
Excellent. So this was your time. He was coming and then he's not coming. Are you paying cash? No. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
I
somebody
think
else.
we all got that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. My
Would
life.
somebody, yeah, would somebody else like to read? Hello?
Shweta is ready.
Shweta has her
Yes,
hand.
ma'am.
Yeah,
So
Shweta.
this happened quite a few months back. I could say 7-8 months back, but that conversation is still fresh in my head. I got on the
No,
bus.
don't give us the
Okay.
content.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, just starting. Okay, I'm nodding my head. After some time, she asked me, "What did the conductor say?" I said, the conductor said to me, "Just don't get in the bus from the wrong exit door." Okay. After some time, again she asked me, "Do you live here?" I said, "No, I live in Mumbai." "Then why are you here?" she asked. I said, "To get my certificates." She was confused. "But you said you live in Mumbai." "Yes, I live in Mumbai, but I studied in Vizag and now I live in Mumbai." Okay. Then then she said that my dream is to go to Mumbai, but my parents won't allow. Then I said, "Okay, just try to convince them." Then again she said, "Did you see Ambani's house?" Now, Mukesh Ambani is one of the richest person in Asia. So he lives in Mumbai. So that was her thing. Okay. "No, I have not seen it." "Do you do a job over there?" "Yes, I do it." The stop came and I got down from the bus.
Excellent, excellent. So this was a fellow passenger that you have never met before.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So you can see that there are different ways in which you can write dialogue. You can say, she said, I said, and you can continue in that fashion. Or you can write it the way that Vicky did. Hello? Yes, ma'am. I go to St. Joseph's College. So without saying flows, but the reader knows what is going on. You have to make it clear to the reader that it's two people conversing. Yeah. But the way that you have done it is also a legitimate way of writing, where you can say, well, she said, and then I asked, or she asked, and that way the dialogue flows as well. But it's clear from the dialogue that the person you were with on the bus is very impressed with the fact that you were in Mumbai. Isn't that so? She asks about Ambani's
Yes.
house. Yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
yeah, that's very interesting. Anyone else, please? Hello, anyone else?
Vicky has raised her hand. Oh, no.
Anita, was that anyone else? Or are you going to read?
I was just clapping for Shweta's.
Okay.
Okay.
Kanchana, I think you need to pick out one person for them to read out theirs.
Okay, I don't see any names.
Okay, so
So I can pick somebody. Amruta.
Okay.
Amruta.
Amruta?
Okay, so she's maybe not able to use her audio. She was going to
Oh,
type it.
oh, type.
So maybe somebody
Okay,
else
okay.
could, she could type it, but let's go on to somebody else while she's typing.
Okay.
Any volunteers?
Come on, guys.
Don't be shy.
Salishma.
Salishma.
Oh, sometimes her.
I
audio-
haven't written, ma'am. I haven't.
You what?
You haven't written.
Haven't written.
No, I haven't written the prompt as yet.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
okay. Hamsini?
I did write something. I scribbled something actually.
Okay.
Okay. So I have spoken about this earlier in one of the meetings, but okay, you don't know, so I'm going to go ahead with that.
Uh-huh.
Hi. Oh, hello. Are you going to get down here? No, I just got into the train. Oh, okay. Are you traveling from Bhubaneswar? Yes, I am. Where are you going to get down at? I'm going to get down at Khorda, which is the next stop. Oh, that's great. Are you traveling alone? Yes, I am traveling alone. Are you traveling alone? No, I'm traveling with my father. This is my first time going back home after I've spent an year at my relatives. Oh, so what do you do at your relatives? I'm studying in a school here. Oh, you are in which class? I'm in 9th class. Oh, and what is that you're reading? I'm reading a comic called Champak. Oh, aren't you too old for comics? I feel nobody's too old for comics. Do you want to hear something on my phone? Yeah, sure. She passes her mobile phone to me. I plug in the earphones. In the speakers, I mean in the earphones, a male storyteller starts telling a story. I really start enjoying it. I really like it. Who is he? His name is Nilesh Mishra. He is very popular on radio. Oh, okay. I really like him. Can you send some of those to my father's phone so that I can enjoy the trip once you get down at your stop? Sure, I can do that. She sends everything to my father. She sends every recording that she has to my father's phone. I keep listening and I fall asleep. She wakes me up and she says, my stop is here. I have to get down. Oh, okay. Bye. Thanks for the stories. You're welcome. Do keep listening to him.
Okay. Okay, great. Hamsini. The impression I get is that the person that was talking to you was a much older person. Is that correct?
Yes. She was a lady who was pregnant, and
Yes.
yeah, so she was around 35, 30, 35.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So you see, you made that clear through the dialogue. I mean, you didn't tell us she was 35 years old. You didn't tell us she was pregnant, but we could gather from the way she speaks to you, the way she suggests things, and the way she says, aren't you too old for comics and so on, that she is an older person. Yeah. So I think this is what is important in dialogue. And this is the way in which you bring out character, you bring out what that person is about, what that person looks like. All that can be conveyed through dialogue. And I think you've got the idea, and all of you are doing excellently well in that. Did Amrita have something now?
Yes, I'll read it. She put it in the
Okay.
chat. Okay.
Okay.
Or no, Anita, why don't you read it? I've spoken enough. Anita, you read it. It's in the chat. Starting with, what are you doing?
What are you doing? I'm studying. No, you're not. Yes, I am. See, I have my laptop on. You know, you can fool mom with this trick, but you can't fool me. I can see games open at the bottom of your screen. Stop making things up. All right, then I will let mom decide what you're really doing. Please don't tell her anything. Why? You're studying, right? Yes, but don't tell her. Don't tell her that you are studying. No. Don't you want to look good in her eyes? Not with your help. Mom! Stop it. Stop it. Mom, Didi is studying. I said, stop it. She's really studying. You can come check if you want to. Please, take this chocolate and leave me alone. You don't have to check, Mom. You can trust me. She's studying.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is presumably two sisters, two siblings.
Amrita,
Is that right?
Is that
Amrita,
right, Amrita?
is it an older sibling and a younger one?
She said yes.
One
Oh,
bully.
her and her brother. She said her and her
Ah,
brother.
me and my brother. Okay, okay, great. Yes. And finally, the story goes to mom. Mom, she's studying. Okay, yeah, excellent. So you've got the idea, and I think this is how writers use dialogue in conveying what a person is like, from what they say. Like in John Cheever's Reunion, we have the father entering a restaurant and calling out to the waiter in 3 different languages, in German, Kellner, Gakon, Camerere, you, and then there was no need for all that, but that's how he speaks. Then he goes on to say, could we have a little service here? Chop, chop. Then he starts clapping his hands, calling the waiter. And were you clapping your hands at me? Asked the waiter. Calm down, sommelier, my father said. If it isn't too much to ask of you, if it wouldn't be too much above and beyond the call of duty, we would like a couple of Beefeater Gibsons. Now, Beefeater Gibsons is some kind of a drink, yeah? A martini or some an alcoholic drink. So the waiter says, I don't like to be clapped at. Father says, I should have brought my whistle. I have a whistle that is audible only to the ears of old waiters. Now take out your little pad and your little pencil and see if you can get this straight. 2 Beefeater Gibsons. Repeat after me. 2 Beefeater Gibsons. I think you'd better go somewhere else, the waiter said quietly. That, said my father, is one of the most brilliant suggestions I've ever heard. Come on, Charlie, let's get the hell out of here. Wasn't that good? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can see the way in which the father speaks, always speaking down, being completely obnoxious, talking to the waiters and, saying, firstly clapping at them to call the attention of the waiter, and then saying that he would have brought his whistle and so on. So you've got the idea, and I would like you to continue and see how that goes. But the real assignment that you will submit is construct a character from a photograph. Yeah, none of us has seen the photograph, but I want you to make the person come alive from the photograph that you have seen, so that when we read it, the person will come alive to us as if we have seen the photograph and we know the person.
Should we include dialogue or not?
You can do that. If you would like to include dialogue, that's fine. But we want the character to come through the photograph that you have seen. Yeah, any photograph of a person, either from a group or a single photograph. Yeah, and please include your name, as I said, in the attachment. Next week, we are going to look at perspective and point of view, and also imagery and description. How do we use imagery? How do we use description in our writing? So that we use all those senses that you wrote about, sense of smell, sense of hearing, sense of sight. It is through imagery that we now tap into all those senses. So we do that. I don't know if any of you was able to get a copy of my book, soulmates.
Yes,
So-
mine came. If you need me to scan anything, let me know.
Yeah, it was the story Blessing in Disguise, which is what I wanted everybody to read. So if they have access to that, then I have already sent the Silver Toe Rings, a portion of that. Hello?
No, sorry, I muted her.
Okay, a piece, I sent an excerpt from the story called The Silver Toe Rings, which was circulated. So if you could read that and read the story Blessing in Disguise, and then we will talk about imagery, description, perspective, and point of view next week.
I'll scan this story and put it in the creative writing WhatsApp group.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Vicky.
Mhm.
Good. So thank you, everyone. Great work.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye-bye.
bye.